What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. Thank you very much for joining me here on Pretty Dece, your daily entertainment and pop culture podcast. You can find Pretty Dece on the Anchor app in podcast form in your favorite podcast catcher, or on YouTube. Just search for Pretty Dece on YouTube, and you can find the channel and all of the episodes there. It's been a hot minute since we've talked about board games on this show, so let's do just that. There's a new game that I played for the first time tonight called How to Rob a Bank that I want to tell you about. Apparently this game is exclusive to Target. That's where I picked it up. I didn't realize until I bought it, but it's from Big G Games. I kind of bought this thing on a whim. It was on sale at Target. I got it for $15. I think it's normally like $25. And it's a robbers versus the bank game. So there are a player or a team of players that play the robbers, and then one player that plays the guards in the bank. The robbers are trying, of course, to rob the bank blind, and the guards are trying to prevent that. And when you actually get down to playing, this is essentially a programming game. So it works kind of like Robo Rally if you've ever played that. It's a game where you have to ahead of time decide what actions you want to take in a turn, and then you and the rest of the players start taking those actions kind of simultaneously. So you can plan out exactly what you want to do, but it'll most likely get disrupted by the other players, the opposing players, which is where the fun and ridiculousness comes in. You can see how your best laid plans kind of fall apart. So the game, the actual place you play the game, the board, is a pretty small board, and it's represented by 9 tiles that represent a single floor of a bank. So one single game of How to Rob a Bank, you play 3 times because you have to make it through 3 floors of the bank. And these tiles are placed randomly, so the floors are different every single time. So every tile has like walls in certain places, so the layout of the floor of the bank is different every time you lay them out. You might have a wall that runs the length of the building. You might have a little room walled off. It really just depends on the randomness of the tiles, how they got shuffled. So it makes every single play much different. You have no idea where the robbers are going to start, where the guards are going to start. You have no idea which walls you're going to have to get around. And of course, once things are laid out, there are specific tiles where money bags go, and then specific tiles where all the characters start. And then based on that, you know where the getaway car is placed. And the getaway car is where the robbers have to take their money bags to drop them off. And that's how the robbers score points. Now, to actually take actions in the game, as I said, you kind of program ahead of time the actions that you want to play, but then you kind of end up playing them all at one time. So every character, so the guards and each of the robbers, has a deck of cards with various actions on those cards that you can carry out. These actions are pretty simple things, stuff like moving, picking up a bag of money, pepper spraying a guard, or tackling a robber if you are a guard, things like that. So ways to move about the board to achieve your objectives and to disrupt the other team. And that's really the key part here. You pick cards out and you reveal them one by one. So you know the cards that the other team played. So for example, if you are a robber, you get to see what cards and what actions the guards are going to be taking during the course of the game. However, you have to remember that stuff because you only get to see one card at a time, and you also don't know which guard is going to be taking those actions or what direction they're going to move if they have a move card, because those things are decided later on. So you have a general idea of the things that they can do, but not necessarily how they'll be taken out. So it's a very, very interesting thing where you might know, like, okay, they just played a tackle a robber card, so I don't want to be near them for that. So maybe I want to, move over here, or maybe I want to make sure I have a pepper spray ready. Those are things that you can consider while you're picking which cards. But it's a lot to keep track of as you are playing, and it's a lot to kind of plan around because, of course, the other thing that has to happen is the robbers have to work together. So it's not, if everyone just runs to the same bag of money, you're not really getting anywhere. So you have to plan who's going to kind of run interference, who's going to try to grab which bags of money, where you want the getaway car to go, and all sorts of decisions have to happen. Meanwhile, the player playing the guards has to coordinate all the different guards and make sure he can kind of head off any of the robbers as they're going. At any given time, there's a ton of stuff happening in the game and a ton of stuff you have to keep track of. But the game still manages to be fairly simple. At any given point, it's very clear and it's very easy to know what actions you have available to you and what you can do. It's really, really well designed in that aspect. It's also really neat because the game is very asymmetric. So, the robbers and guards have different goals, and the robbers have free actions as well. So in addition to the move cards that they have and all the action cards they have free actions that are like move the getaway car. So if the car is too far away, you need it closer to you, you can move the car tile by tile. You can also hand off money bags. So if a robber wants to pass a money bag off to a different robber, that's something that you can do. Tossing a bag of money into the getaway car is a free action. Pulling an alarm is a free action, and that attracts all of the guards to that one tile. So the robbers have a lot of play there where they can use their free actions to manipulate the board. And guards have passive abilities. So guards kind of disrupt things. For example, a robber can't grab a bag of money when a guard is in the same tile as them. Similarly, a robber can't throw a bag of money into the getaway car if a guard is there as well. So just being there, just existing, the guards really disrupt a lot of the robbers' plans, which is necessary because, obviously the one person playing the bank, there are going to be, potentially less guards depending on which mode you have. The guards need to have a bit of an advantage somehow, and that's how that happens. In general, based on the cards that you play, guards are faster, so guards have more move cards and faster move cards where they can move more spaces at once, and robbers tend to be sneakier. For example, robbers have a card where they can crawl into an air duct and basically teleport across the board to any other square. So, that's kind of the give and play kind of cat and mouse game that goes on with those two types. So I really like that the game is asymmetric and everyone's kind of different, while still everyone's kind of operating within the same rules and everyone has their own deck of cards and stuff. I think it's a really, really well designed game and really, really incredibly fun too. We had a blast playing it here tonight. And again, the game is deceptively complicated. I was trying to kind of like plan ahead and think things out, and you just get completely disrupted. The actions that you pick are sometimes comically bad in the situation you actually find yourself in. It can go horribly good or horribly wrong for you as you are playing the game. So, it's one of those really, really well-designed games where the actual complexity comes from the strategy of the game and not from just the complexity in rules. It's a game you can teach someone in just a few minutes, but then they can really dive in and kind of employ a lot of strategy to figure out how to best play the game. And I think that's really a hallmark of a really good game. And also, someone could sit down and just pick actions at random and get through things fairly well, to be honest. It's a game that I think you can mostly stumble your way through and have a really good time with still. So it's one of those rare games that's able to do all of those things. So that's How to Rob a Bank. Highly recommended to check out if you are looking for a good game. Of course, this is a great time to play games around the holidays when you have family over and stuff. So How to Rob a Bank definitely gets the Pretty Dece seal of approval. So that's going to do it for Pretty Dece for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Make sure that you like Pretty Dece on Facebook, facebook.com/PrettyDeceShow. And of course, follow me on Twitter @PrettyDeceShow. And finally, visit PrettyDeceShow.com. So we'll be back tomorrow, as always, for another daily episode. Until then, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss the daily content.